Especially in tough times like these, it's not uncommon for one failure to trigger a chain reaction of bankruptcies. Even if they manage to hold on, they'll have to adjust production until they find alternative suppliers. In other words, our company's bankruptcy would ultimately deal a heavy blow to MB Industries. If MB Industries suddenly loses orders from nearly 10 business partners, bankruptcy is inevitable. I don't know the total value of the transactions between these partners and our company. But of course, you're aware of all this and still choose to stop doing business with us. My explanation seemed to have hit home. Perhaps she hadn't realized that stopping business with our company would have such an impact. It seemed she had just realized the gravity of her rash decision.
Wait, what I said earlier was too hasty. And there might be some flaws in the documents.
Handing back the contract termination notice and signing it, well, that's just how things work in the business world. If there are any flaws or corrections needed, please bring the corrected documents to our office. I stood up and took my bag. I'll keep the contract termination notice safe for now. If our company is facing bankruptcy, it's an urgent matter. We need to hold a meeting immediately and discuss it further. I'll take it back to the office.
Wait, please. We've been childhood friends, haven't we? If something like this happens, I'll be in big trouble.
Daphne, with a pale face, tried to chase after me, but I dashed down the stairs and got into the company car. With safety boots and work clothes, it was easy to skip steps down the stairs. On the other hand, struggling to catch up in her office skirt and heels, Daphne couldn't keep up and I smoothly left MB Industries behind. A few days later, the atmosphere at the meeting was tense. Daphne was sniffling, and Mr. Anders looked pale, occasionally coughing uncomfortably.
Where's the president of Colby Industries? I came with my father while there's only you here.
Well, the president delegated this matters to me. I brushed off Daphne's complaints, and she gave me a sour look. Daphne can't act here as the president like she does at her company, so there's no room for dissenting remarks. Mr. Anders had dark circles under his eyes, and he looked much thinner than when I last saw him. Unable to bear the heavy, stagnant air, I instinctively opened the window.
I deeply apologize for my daughter's hasty actions. It's truly embarrassing that she only thought about immediate profits without considering the company's management or relationships.
According to Mr. Anders, Daphne seemed to lack sustainability as an engineer, an office worker, and even as a manager. When Mr. Anders discovered he was ill, with a life-threatening illness at that, he realized he needed to do something about the company before his time ran out. However, it was impossible to make Daphne his successor. So, he tried to recruit skilled technicians and talented young people from other companies, but that strategy also failed miserably. Judging from what I heard from the new recruit at MB Industries the other day, the cause of the failure was likely Daphne's personality. But why did you decide to proceed with this matter without consulting the president? You could have simply sought the president's decision without pushing yourself. After all, if I had made a major contract decision and assured that MB Industries would be secure in the future, wouldn't that have reassured your father?
Well, I really hate you, Hannah. Just because you're somewhat competent at work, you think you're all that.
The atmosphere in the conference room suddenly became awkward. You should not bring personal feelings into business. Trying to destroy our company for short-term gain without considering the massive boomerang heading her way, she's unfit to be in her position. Resigned to the fact that she's not cut out for this, Mr. Anders nodded in agreement.
You're right, Hannah. Let's just forget about this incident as childhood friends. Everything will go back to normal, and our company can continue its long-term relationship with yours. That would be best for both of us, right?
What a thing to say at this stage. I felt deep sympathy for the president. Although he was a talented manager and engineer, it seemed that he lacked the ability to guide and teach Daphne. Suddenly terminating the transaction and trying to ruin our company? And haven't I already mentioned that it would be difficult to continue to supply products as before unless we agreed to a price increase? Seeing the distressed expression on Mr. Anders' face, I calmly rejected their offer. If we could agree to a price increase, our company could still manage, but it's hard to see how we can continue doing business with a company that abruptly terminates our agreement without prior notice. Daphne couldn't respond, and Mr. Anders and I looked on in silence. However, no one offered any words of comfort for her. Our company will gradually cease transaction with MB Industries. Please understand that this decision is based on our long-standing relationship. We have no veto power in this matter. We appreciate your understanding. It won't be long before we close our doors. We will do our best to minimize any inconvenience, and we appreciate your cooperation when the time comes. Mr. Anders, visibly distressed, covered his face with both hands.
What? Are you kidding me? Dad, if they're gradually stopping, can't we just increase our contracts with other suppliers during that time? Why do we have to go under?
It's because of the contracts you unilaterally signed somewhere. When I checked the contract, it included a commitment for the next 5 years of transactions. I saw the goods, but the quality is much inferior to what Colby Industries offers.
They're completely unusable for us. In other words, Daphne managed to sell us inferior goods. With a firm contract in place and no cooling off period for business-to-business transactions, Daphne couldn't possibly have thoroughly read through the complicated contract document. If we terminate the transaction, there will be substantial penalties for buying back the products. It's likely an amount our current financial situation can't withstand.
Whether there is a penalty or not, if word gets out that we did this to Colby Industries, it will be a credibility issue. A company that loses credibility will inevitably go under. As Mr. Anders struggled to hold back his tears, Daphne began to sob uncontrollably. The bitter taste of the path that the childhood friends and business associates would soon walk lingered in the air. Daphne, what on earth are you doing? We all know that running a business isn't easy. You can't just shut down the family business on a whim. What have you seen all this time? We've been childhood friends since forever. I thought we understood how our factories operated since we were young, and how hard our fathers worked. But it seems like Daphne and I had completely different views and impressions of the world.
Is it all my fault? Why would you say such awful things? If you're going to blame someone, why not blame someone other than me?
It's because you neglected to report to the CEO that the employees' lives would be affected. Suddenly, Daphne began frantically scratching with both hands and let out a scream, then collapsed to the side with a loud thud. It seemed she fainted from the shock. Should we call an ambulance?
No, we'll go to the hospital ourselves. We apologize sincerely for the trouble this has caused. We'll come back to apologize properly later, so please convey our regards to the CEO.
It was unfortunate to see Daphne faint like that, so I helped Mr. Anders, who was unwell, by bringing a cart and container to load the products into the car. Daphne's clothes were stained with machine oil, but I pretended not to notice as a subtle revenge. I bid farewell to Mr. Anders, who looked fatigued. And so a year later, Mr. Anders, burdened with a vast amount of medical expenses, decided to close the business after 50 years of operation, rather than declaring bankruptcy. He liquidated not only the company, but also his home, land, and his life insurance policies to pay the employees without issuing any bounced checks. Of course, the journey to this point was difficult. Furthermore, illness mercilessly consumed Mr. Anders' body. I wonder if he found peace after completing all the arrangements. Mr. Anders passed away surrounded by his family.
It's not my fault. It's not me. It's because Hannah wouldn't forgive me. It's because of Dad's illness that things got worse. It's all Hannah's fault. She's the one who's to blame for this tragedy.
The relatives and company associates were angry at Daphne's unrepentant attitude. Despite being at the funeral, she eventually got kicked out of the venue and no one intervened. By the way, MB Industries CEO made sure to arrange alternative employment for the employees. Our company also took on some of their technicians to improve product quality. I heard that their former employees had valuable skills that had sustained it for 50 years, so they were welcome anywhere. They're truly exceptional talents.
Whatever you ask Daphne to do, she's absolutely useless.
Our president, on the contrary, has high expectations of her. Sitting on the sofa in front of me is my brother. He came to report on some business matters while also pitching a new material he developed today. Nowadays, compliance is strict, so you have to be careful not to get sued.
It's okay, though. Our CEO is good at handling those things.
My brother works for a company where a female CEO took office 5 years ago. She shook things up with organizational reforms and significantly increased sales after becoming CEO. She's also focused on employee education, constantly improving the skills of both new hires and veterans. Recognizing her talent and the educational environment she created, employees from other companies are sometimes sent to her company for executive training. She actually apprenticed under Mr. Anders for a few years in her youth, learning about power processing, and she was greatly influenced by his work ethic. And she's also my brother's wife. The materials her company deals with are the subject of my brother's research, and his dedication caught her eye, leading to their collaboration. As long as my brother and his wife keeps an eye on Daphne, I feel reassured. After all, I'm too busy to think about anything else. There are qualifications and training waiting for me. Daphne, who lives off her parents, will be in dire straits if she loses her job, so she has to cling to it desperately. For someone like her who lacks ambition, it would be much harder than wandering aimlessly through life. I had hoped to educate her to be a responsible adult and fulfill her obligations to the CEO, but I wonder how that will turn out. Well, I've already written several reports this month, and it's only been a week since the month started. Yes, she's already missing deadlines for reports. It seems Daphne is not cut out for adult life. Despite being amazed at my brother and his wife for taking care of her, I'm curious about what Daphne's daily life is like. It seems she's prideful despite lacking competence, and her pride led to the reduction of her own father's honor and the closure of the business, causing great distress. Is it too much to hope for some remorse from her soon? I vowed to myself to continue working diligently so that I won't become like Daphne, no matter how prideful she may be.